Hello, my analysts. All right, if you're joining me from the previous video, we have just wrapped up our basic static analysis of the first sample in this course. Now, let's go back to the metaphor. Remember that we are scientists and we have an alien in the lab on the operating table. And during basic static analysis, we have effectively stood over the alien with a clipboard and a pencil. And we've pointed at a few different parts of the alien, like its antenna or its eyes or its limbs. And we've said, I wonder what this does. I'm taking note of something on the outside here, and I have a hypothesis of what it might be doing. And that is basic static analysis. It's a very good starting point. Pulling the strings, looking at the IAT, these are all good starting points. But nothing is going to tell us more about what this binary or this sample in general may be doing than actually running it. And to find out more, we need to now move into dynamic analysis. This may also be known as heuristic or behavioral analysis. You may hear people say one of these terms, heuristic analysis, behavioral analysis, dynamic analysis. They are all effectively the same thing. Now, we are starting at the basic level of dynamic analysis, and according to our methodology, that means that we are taking a triage approach with a limited set of tools and a limited amount of time to look at what this malware might be doing. And the key fundamental difference is that we will be running the piece of malware in the lab at this point. Now, when it comes to dynamic analysis, there are two categories of information that I like to think about. Dynamic analysis is going to tell us a lot about the host indicators and the network indicators. Now, you can think of the host and the network indicators as two sides of the same coin. When something happens on the binary on the host, maybe it deletes a file, delete file, or maybe it installs itself as persistence, installs persistence. These are host-based indicators because they happen to the host that the malware is detonating on. Now, on the other side, on the network indicator side, let's say the binary calls out to a domain. Maybe it downloads a file. These would be network indicators because we have some kind of network indicator to hone in on to identify what the binary is doing. Now, there are some indicators that kind of tread the line between these two areas. So if you think about something like a DNS request, well, DNS is definitely out on the network side, but there's also a certain component of Windows logs that can pick up when a process makes a DNS request. So sometimes a DNS request might be a host-based indicator if it's being pulled from a host log, or it could be a network indicator if it's being pulled from network logs or identifiable on the network wire. Now, it doesn't really matter which indicator you try to look for first. There's really no rhyme or reason to it as long as you're covering both of these indicators thoroughly and making sure that when you detonate the malware, you can get an idea of the things that happen on the operating system, i.e. host, and the things that happen on the wire, i.e. network. And if you can get a good idea of both of those, you have really, really good information to go into the later phases of analysis. So, without any further ado, let's get going.